morning. You're watching DD India and I'm Preeti presenting this edition of News on the Hour, a show which we get for you every morning to make sure that you keep yourself abreast with everything that's been making it to the headlines. We get to the top stories first. 9th International Day of Yoga being celebrated across the globe with great enthusiasm. Yoga Day theme for this year is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or Yoga for the wellness of all as one world, one family. UN Chief extends greetings on the occasion, says yoga unites millions of people across the globe. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lead global celebration of yoga at the United Nations headquarters in New York. Top UN officials, envoys from across the world and prominent individuals will join the event to show their commitment towards yoga. India celebrates International Yoga Day with great zeal. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar leads the yoga celebrations in Madhya Pradesh's Jabalpur. Yoga enthusiasts participate in the yoga event from Siachen to Andaman. Prime Minister Modi meets thought leaders including Nobel laureates, economists, artists, scientists, scholars, entrepreneurs, academicians and experts from the health sector. Prime Minister's interaction with the thought leaders aimed at understanding the developments in the US and inviting them to collaborate with India. White House says Prime Minister Modi's visit to the US will strengthen bilateral relationship between the two countries with focus on enhancing cooperation and collaboration. Adds US supports India's emergence as a great power and looks forward to improving and deepening the defense cooperation between the two nations. United Nations urges Sudan leaders to accelerate implementation of the 2018 revitalized peace agreement, including holding elections late next year, says conflict uproots 2.5 million people so far. Massive search operation continues to find submersible with 5 people on board that went missing near the wreck of the Titanic. Rescuers hope the arrival of specialized deep-sea vessels and US Navy experts will boost efforts to find tourist submersible. In Honduras, at least 41 inmates killed following reports riot in women's prison. The riot appears to be the worst tragedy at a female detention center in the region since 2017. In sports, Australia wins first test match of Ashes 2023, beat England by 2 wickets to take 1-0 lead. All right, those were the top stories. Let's get to the top news we are tracking today. It is the 9th International Day of Yoga today, and we bring you some stories in the run-up to the International Day of Yoga. And as we told you, the 9th International Day of Yoga is being celebrated across the globe with great enthusiasm as the celebrations are taking place all over the world. This year's theme for the day is Yoga for Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which beautifully encapsulates our collective aspiration for one earth, one family, one future. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lead global celebration of yoga at the United Nations headquarters in New York in the United States. Top UN officials, envoys from across the world, and prominent individuals will join the event to show their commitment towards yoga. The main goal of the International Day of Yoga is to spread the word about yoga as a holistic way to improve mental and physical health. This observance has a significant impact on highlighting the significance of mental and physical health in the modern world. In addition to this, the day encourages regular meditation practice to cultivate mental clarity and self-awareness, which are necessary for success in a stress-free environment. The overall goal of International Yoga Day is to make people more aware of the many benefits of yoga. UN Chief Antonio Guterres has extended greetings on the International Day of Yoga. In a message, he said, and I quote, that in a divided world, yoga unites millions of people across the globe for whom it is a source of strength, harmony and peace. He also added that on this Yoga Day, let us embrace the spirit of unity and resolve to build a better, more harmonious world for people and planet.
Yoga offers a haven of calm. It can reduce anxiety and promote mental well-being. It helps us to develop discipline and patience. It connects us to our planet, which so badly needs our protection. And it reveals our common humanity, helping us to understand that despite our differences, we are one. On this International Day of Yoga, let us embrace the spirit of unity and resolve to build a better, more harmonious world for people, planet, and ourselves.
And India is celebrating the International Day of Yoga with great zeal. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar led the celebrations at Jabalpur in Madhya Pradesh. About 15,000 people participated in the main event. Even as Prime Minister Modi leads the nation on International Day of Yoga from New York, he shared his thoughts in a video message. He said that crores of people worldwide join yoga with Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam theme. He added that today yoga has become global movement through observance of the day.
योग के इस अनूठे सेलिब्रेशन में देश दुनिया के करोड़ों लोगों का इतने सहज स्वरूप में शामिल होना योग के प्रसार और प्रसिद्धि को, उसके महात्म्य को उजागर करता है। योग का ये प्रसार उस विचार का विस्तार है जो पूरे संसार को एक परिवार के रूप में समाहित करता है। योग के विस्तार का अर्थ है वसुधैव कुटुंबकम की भावना का विस्तार।
The Prime Minister asserted that this year the programs of the International Day of Yoga have become more special due to the Ocean Ring of Yoga. He said that the idea of Ocean Ring of Yoga is based on mutual relation of Yog ke Vichar and Samudra ka Vistar.
साथियों, इस साल योग दिवस के कार्यक्रमों को ओशन रिंग ऑफ योगा इसने और विशेष बना दिया है। ओशन रिंग ऑफ योगा, इसका आइडिया योग के विचार और समुद्र के विस्तार के पारस्परिक संबंध पर आधारित है। सेना के जवानों ने भी हमारे जल स्रोतों के साथ एक योग भारतमाला और योग सागरमाला बनाई है। इसी तरह आर्कटिक से लेकर अंटार्कटिका तक भारत के 2 रिसर्च बेस यानी पृथ्वी के 2 ध्रुव भी योग से जुड़ रहे हैं।
Prime Minister said that this year over 180 countries have come together to practice yoga, which is simply unprecedented. He added that today yoga has become a global spirit.
भारत के आह्वान पर दुनिया के 180 से ज्यादा देशों का एक साथ आना ऐतिहासिक है, अभूतपूर्व है। आप सबको याद होगा 2014 में जब यूएन जनरल असेंबली में योग दिवस का प्रस्ताव आया तो रिकॉर्ड देशों ने इसे समर्थन दिया था। तब से लेकर आज तक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय योग दिवस के जरिए योग एक वैश्विक आंदोलन बन गया है, ग्लोबल स्पिरिट बन गया है।
Prime Minister also spelled out the importance of yoga in his video message. He stressed that yoga can help in dealing with contradictions in one's heart and mind.
योग हमारी अंतःदृष्टि को विस्तार देता है। योग हमें उस चेतना से जोड़ता है जो हमें जीव मात्र की एकता का एहसास कराती है, जो हमें प्राणी मात्र से प्रेम का आधार देती है। इसलिए हमें योग के जरिए हमारे अंतर विरोधों को खत्म करना है। हमें योग के जरिए हमारे गतिरोधों और प्रतिरोधों को भी खत्म करके रहना है। हमें एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत की भावना को विश्व के सामने एक उदाहरण के रूप में प्रस्तुत करना है।
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also participated in the Yoga Day celebrations on INS Vikrant in Kochi. This was a unique way for Defence Minister to show dedication towards the Defence Forces. Indian Army personnel also performed yoga at Pangong Tso in Ladakh. The Pangong Tso Lake, a picturesque point in Ladakh, and here we see the armed forces practicing yogasanas. Now, this is of importance because of the stress, because of the hardships which the armed forces have to face in protecting the borders of the country, in protecting the land of the country, and in that, embracing that, in fact, yogic meditation and yoga asanas in fact play a very important role in managing stress and hardships that are faced by the armed forces in such difficult terrain, who are posted in such difficult terrains. And here we have the armed forces, the soldiers there practicing yogasanas at the Pangong Tso Lake in Ladakh. And also Indian Army personnel performed yoga in Sikkim as well. The hard terrain there not deterring, in fact, the soldiers there, the armed forces, and here we see them practicing yogasanas in Sikkim. And battling the bone-numbing cold, Indian Army personnel also performed yoga in Siachen. The Indian High Commission in Abuja has organized a special event in Nigeria to celebrate this year's International Day of Yoga. It's part of the efforts to encourage more people in Nigeria to practice yoga. Correspondent Ashek Mangot reports.
A breathing exercise to start this yoga session in Abuja. More than 1,000 people are here to mark this year's International Day of Yoga.
This is the 9th year that we are celebrating International Day of Yoga, and the theme for this year is Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam, which means whole world is one family. That is the theme under which Government of India organizes the yoga day today. This is a practice which we do regularly, will be very, very beneficial for our health. And I'm happy that there are many people from Nigeria who have joined. More than 1,200 have joined today.
The United Nations designated 21st June as the International Day of Yoga in 2014 after a resolution spearheaded by India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Yoga is practiced by people of all ages, and for many of the yogis here, it's a day to relax and commune with nature.
They say it's an exercise that keeps them feeling great.
It's a wonderful feeling to start the day doing something like this because it makes you feel calm and relaxes your body and makes you feel energized. So I'm really happy to be here.
So yoga is something, it's really beyond the boundaries, color, beyond the religion, beyond the everything. So here I want to put one line here that Corona has no religion, right? It follows and it touches everybody here. So similarly, yoga is something, it can transform your whole personality, like body to soul.
I feel very relieved, very flexible. Well, I'm this kind of person that don't have much time for activities, sport activities. But with yoga activities, I think I keep very fit, a bit normal, and I relate well with people.
And for India's High Commissioner to Nigeria, yoga goes beyond exercise.
The takeaway that I would certainly love to have many students and university students, school students, NYSC cadets who have all come over here, and my diplomatic corps friends and the friends from Nigeria, to understand the value of yoga and being together and doing an activity together for healthy living and healthy aging. So this is something which I would have. The universal brotherhood concept of Vasudeva Kutumpakam is something that I would like everybody to understand and take home.
And events like this seem to be raising the profile of yoga in Nigeria. Ajak Mangut in Abuja reporting for DD India.
International Day of Yoga will be organized all over the world on June 21st, and the Indian Embassy in Greece organized a yoga program. During this, along with the embassy staff, the local people of Greece also performed yogasanas. The International Day of Yoga was also celebrated in Prague, the capital of Czech Republic. A grand yoga session was organized at the Embassy of India in Prague. Cultural performances were also held during the International Yoga Day celebrations. Indian cultural dance and music performances were on display by the local citizens of Czech Republic. The Yoga Day events were also witnessed in various cities of Czech Republic. And as we know that India is the G20 president, and also the summit level talks will be held in September in the national capital. Let's take a look at how the International Yoga Day celebrations are taking place amongst the G20 countries. In Russia, on the eve of 9th International Day of Yoga, the Indian Embassy, led by Indian Ambassador Pawan Kumar, organized a massive yoga program in Moscow. During this, more than 4,000 people adopted peace, power and meditation in their daily lives. And also we get to the International Day of Yoga celebration in France up next. In Canada too, different yoga events were organized in different cities on the eve of Yoga Day. A group of youth in Toronto practiced yoga in front of the city's skyline. Another team organized yoga with the help of UV lights. An International Day of Yoga is also being celebrated with great zeal in the SCO nations. Let's take a look now. A yoga program was organized by the Indian Embassy in Shanghai ahead of the International Day of Yoga. It was attended by a large number of Chinese yoga enthusiasts. Embassy of India in Astana, the capital of Kazakhstan, organized the 9th International Day of Yoga celebrations at the prestigious Astana Ballet. More than 1,500 yoga enthusiasts from Astana participated in the grand celebration. The iconic and the picturesque spots in different parts of the world, in different countries, are witnessing the yoga events that are being conducted to mark the celebrations of the 9th International Day of Yoga across the world today. As part of the ongoing preparations for the International Day of Yoga, in fact, a yoga program was organized at the Indian Embassy in Kyrgyzstan. During this, along with the embassy staff, famous people of Kyrgyzstan also performed yoga. All right, the International Day of Yoga was also celebrated in Pakistan. Up next, we get you visuals of that. These are the pictures showcasing the event that was organized to mark the celebration of the International Day of Yoga in Pakistan. And as the Prime Minister said that in fact the International Day of Yoga is being observed from Arctic to Antarctica. Let's get you more on the Ocean Ring celebrations. The Indian Embassy in Oman launched a yoga video ahead of the International Day of Yoga and said that a large number of people participated in the occasion of International Yoga Day in Oman. Yoga was also performed at the Colombo port as part of the Global Ocean Ring.
And to the right. And to the center.
Now we are going through the other side as well.
The Nadi Shodhan Pranayama helps us to
21st June is not only the longest day in the Northern Hemisphere, but it also heralds the global significance which we have tried to stress in terms of the significance of yoga, the shared heritage of India and Sri Lanka.
And Ocean Ring yoga celebrations were also held in Thailand's Phuket. We'll take you live there. The International Day of Yoga is being celebrated globally to highlight the importance of yoga in one's life. One such yoga session led by Malayan yoga guru Omar Coulibaly was held in Mali's capital, Bamako, on the occasion of International Yoga Day in Mali.
Inspirez, je reviens en avant. Expire, continuez. Tournez, regardez par derrière et ressentez la torsion dans le cou en même temps.
The International Day of Yoga was also celebrated in a South American country, Chile. Chile's yoga lovers celebrated the day with Indian Embassy in Chile's capital, Santiago. An impressive gathering of locals, along with India's ambassador, Subrat Bhattacharjee, performed yogasanas.
Tiende bien los brazos y quedamos en Vrikshasana. Eso es. Hacia abajo y hacia arriba. Trikonasana.
Indian Embassy celebrated International Day of Yoga at India House in Ireland. Despite the heavy rains, a large number of people turned up for the yoga. Indian Embassy in Vietnam organized the 9th International Day of Yoga celebrations. More than 240 people performed yoga at the Tham Chok Pagoda complex. Also, the day was celebrated at the African Renaissance Monument at Dakar, Senegal. Yoga enthusiasts participated in the festival with full zeal and enthusiasm. Indian Embassy celebrated the 9th International Day of Yoga at the iconic Bratislava Castle in Slovakia. The Indian diaspora, Friends of India and yoga enthusiasts graced the event. Yoga is also very popular in Tanzania on the occasion of International Yoga Day. In fact, it was celebrated in different cities. To commemorate the International Day of Yoga, the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India has planned an event, Ocean Ring of Yoga, in coordination with Indian Navy and other ministries. With the aim of unity and solidarity, Indian Navy ships deployed in the Indian Ocean region are visiting various ports of friendly foreign countries and spreading the message of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which is also the theme for this year's International Day of Yoga. In all, as part of the celebrations, 23 Ocean Ring of Yoga, nearly 3,500 naval personnel on board 19 Indian naval ships have travelled over 35,000 kilometres as ambassadors of yoga in both national and international waters. This includes over 2,400 personnel on 11 Indian Navy ships at foreign ports and international waters. The aim is to increase awareness about yoga on an international scale and to highlight its immense potential to enhance the physical, psychological and emotional aspects of well-being towards an endeavour to facilitate worldwide adoption. And up next, we get you news from Prime Minister's state visit to the United States. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in the United States of America yesterday and met his friend, the distinguished author and investor Ray Dalio. Prime Minister highlighted the reforms undertaken by the government to foster economic growth, including reduction of compliances and decriminalization of large number of legal provisions. Prime Minister urged him to deepen investments in India.
Prime Minister Modi is a man whose time has come at the time that India's time has come. The potential of India is enormous, and you have now a reformer, a radical reformer, who has the ability to transform it and the popularity to transform it. So I think India and Prime Minister Modi are at a juncture in which there's going to create a tremendous opportunity, tremendous changes in India that are going to be really startling.
During his visit to New York, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is meeting around 24 people, including Nobel laureates, economists, artists, scientists, scholars, entrepreneurs, academicians, health sector experts and more. In the series, he kick-started his visit to the US with a stimulating exchange of views with eminent economist and Nobel laureate Professor Paul Romer. The two sides had extensive conversations on leveraging technology to improve lives. They also talked about how to make our cities more sustainable and people-friendly. Discussions were also held upon India's digital journey, including the use of Aadhaar and innovative tools like DigiLockup. The talks also covered various initiatives being undertaken by India for urban development. The Prime Minister also held outstanding interaction with Professor Robert Thurman. He in fact held engrossing conversation with acclaimed Buddhist scholar and author Padma Shri Robert Thurman. Both exchanged perspectives on how Buddhist values can act as guiding light for finding solutions to global challenges. Prime Minister highlighted India's Buddhist heritage and how Buddhism can help overcome many challenges our world faces. He also held warm discussions with distinguished mathematical statistician, public intellectual and author Professor Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Professor Taleb has interesting perspectives on many issues, and Prime Minister Modi had the opportunity to hear them on some of those subjects. On his behalf, Prime Minister emphasized on how we are nurturing a spirit of enterprise and risk-taking among our youth. Prime Minister lauded Professor Taleb for his contribution in bringing complex ideas of risk and fragility in popular conversations. Prime Minister also interacted with celebrated US astrophysicist, author and science communicator Neil deGrasse Tyson. They talked about space, science and related issues. He highlighted steps India is taking to reform the space sector and also draw more youngsters towards science as well as innovation. They discussed at length India's rapid progress in space sector, including various space exploration missions being undertaken by India.
I'm Mr. Modi, for whom the sky is not the limit. I was delighted to spend time in the company of a head of state who is as scientifically thoughtful as is Prime Minister Modi. So many leaders of the world, that I think their priorities might be out of balance with what it needs to be going into the 21st century. With all the challenges we have in civilization, the solutions are going to come from innovations in science and technology and engineering and math. And it's very clear to me that he cares about all of this. Obviously, he reserved his conversations about space for me, and I guess Elon was here a few minutes before I got here. But it's clear that space matters quite a bit to the Prime Minister. So I was delighted to hear about future programs that he has in mind. I'm quite sure I'm not alone when I say the potential for what India can accomplish knows no limits. So I see a very bright future for India.
Talking business and technology, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also held multifaceted conversations on the issues ranging from energy to spirituality with Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk in New York. The Prime Minister appreciated Musk for his efforts at making technology accessible and affordable in various sectors. He in fact also invited Musk to explore opportunities in India for investments in electric mobility and rapidly expanding commercial space sector.
Well, I'm actually incredibly excited about the future of India. I think India has more promise than any large country in the world.
the takeaways from the meeting.
Takeaways from the meeting. He really cares about India because he's pushing us to make significant investments in India, which it is something that we intend to do. And we're just trying to figure out the right timing. In a nutshell, it was a fantastic meeting with the Prime Minister, and I like him quite a lot. He visited our Fremont factory several years ago, and so we've now known each other for a while.
So how do you see Prime Minister Modi's leadership role as far as making technology inclusive so that digital infrastructure can be created?
I can say he really wants to do the right thing for India. He wants to be open, he wants to be supportive of new companies, and obviously, but at the same time, make sure it accrues to India's advantage, which is, obviously, that's the job. I'm saying I am a fan of Modi, so, so I have to say that.
What are your future plans personally? What do you look at as far as investment in India is concerned?
Yeah, well, I think there's a tremendous amount of potential for all three pillars of the sustainable energy future. The three pillars being sustainable energy generation through solar and wind primarily, and obviously India is great for solar. The amount of land area you actually need to generate enough electricity to power India is very small. I believe it'd be probably 1 or 2% of the land area of India. So it's very doable. And then you need to pair that with stationary battery packs because the sun doesn't shine at night. And then you need electric vehicles. And then you have a sustainable energy future. And I think it will, the interesting thing people will find is that this is a lower cost way to go as well. That may surprise people. And we're also hopefully looking forward to bringing Starlink to India as well. So, the Starlink internet, which I think can be incredibly helpful for sort of remote or rural villages where they perhaps may have no access to internet, or the internet is very expensive and slow.
Do you plan to visit India anytime soon? But did the Prime Minister extend an invitation to you?
He did, yes, I'm tentatively planning to visit India again next year.
And talking of energizing India-US knowledge partnership, Prime Minister interacted with a group of eminent US academicians hailing from diverse fields of agriculture, marketing, engineering, health, science and technology. Talks focused on possibilities of enhancing research collaborations and also two-way academic exchanges under India's new education policy. Academics also shared perspectives and experiences from the respective areas of expertise. Prime Minister also engaged with the policy shapers and incubators of new ideas in New York. Discussions with various think tank experts covered a range of developmental and geopolitical issues. Prime Minister invited them to enhance their presence in India as it embarks on its transformation during the Amrit Kal. Giving a fillip to India-US health cooperation, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held wide-ranging conversations with a group of leading US experts from the health sector. He discussed various matters pertaining to the domain of health, including use of digital technologies for quality healthcare, greater focus on integrative medicine, and also better healthcare preparedness. Besides all this, a warm conversation was also held between Prime Minister and renowned Indian American vocalist and composer Falguni Shah. Her family was also present during the conversation. Prime Minister lauded Falguni for her song Abundance in Millets that raises awareness regarding healthy and environment-friendly millets. Prime Minister appreciated her for bringing the people of India and US together through her music. Special song aims to promote the benefits of millets and their potential to alleviate world hunger.
Well, it was very joyful. We inaugurated our song that we wrote together, and he really liked it. So obviously he was asking my son more questions. What are you going to be when you grow up? Are you also a musician? Do you like music? And yes, and it was just so nice to see him because we worked together so closely for 6 months, and he was in India, we were here, so he loved the album cover, the single cover. So he's like, it's very nice. It was just joyful. He just loved the song. He's like, let's hope that a lot of people benefit from this song, and that it really touches a lot of souls, and the cause is taken care of.
The Indian diaspora in the US is preparing to welcome Prime Minister Modi to the US capital. Our correspondent Kate Fisher visited a restaurant in the city whose chef cooked for Mr. Modi last time he was there.
As the US capital starts to get ready to welcome the Indian leader here, I'm at one of Washington DC's premier Indian restaurants, Rasika, and I'm here to find out just how the diaspora here, Indian Americans in Washington DC, are getting excited. Santosh is the general manager at Rasika. Just tell me how you and your friends and family are feeling about the Prime Minister's arrival.
We're very excited. We're very excited to have Prime Minister Modi here in Washington DC in the United States. I think the way people globally look at Indians, Indian citizens, Indian Americans and India, and the perspective has changed, and I think all the credit goes to Prime Minister Modi. And we're so excited. We had an opportunity to serve him the last time he was here, and hopefully he comes again. And we would love to, shake hands with him and, show our gratitude. And we're very excited, yes. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Santosh. Well, someone that last time Mr. Modi was in DC actually got to cook for him is the group executive chef here, Vikram. Vikram, are you going to be cooking for him this time?
Well, not this time, but obviously as a chef, I'm excited to have him over. They always say food is the core of diplomacy. So last time I had the pleasure of cooking for him, and we curated a special menu actually, where one of the dishes, Gujarati lasagna, was so popular that we put it on a menu, and everybody, even now today, asks for it whenever they come here.
I'll be looking forward to trying a bit of that later. Thanks, Vikram. Okay, so everybody here in the nation's capital is excited for Mr. Modi's arrival, and some of the staff here are hoping he pays a visit for a quick bite at this restaurant. Kate Fisher in Washington reporting for DD India.
The head of the United Nations Refugee Agency said on Tuesday that the world needs to rediscover its ability to bring peace to various troubled spots in order to curb the growing flow of refugees. As there are 110 million displaced people around the world, and among the drivers behind the higher number of refugees, which include the internally displaced, is the conflict in Sudan. Earlier, donors pledged $1.5 billion to help the Sudanese refugees at a conference, whereas some of the cash will be used to help 100,000 Sudanese refugees in neighboring Chad.
The UN Security Council, the main international body for peace and security, is broken. They cannot agree on anything. So we need to restore that capacity to lead, to drive peace, because that's the only way that we can address these flows.
The European Union announced on Tuesday that the bloc will provide Ukraine with financial aid package of 50 billion euros on Tuesday's aid pledge. Funds provided by the EU members will mainly come in free grants and loans, which will be disbursed to Ukraine over the next 4 years, that is from 2023 to 2027. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said that the aim of the aid was to provide predictable finance to Ukraine on its EU path, together with global partners and the private sector. An update on the Titanic submersible. The search intensified on Tuesday for the submersible that vanished 3 days ago in the North Atlantic Ocean, as rescuers were scurrying thousands of square miles, racing against time to find the missing submersible. Meanwhile, ships and aircraft from US and Canada have also been deployed, as its Air Force CP-140 Aurora aircraft to support efforts, and 2 Canadian Coast Guard ships have also been deployed. Whereas Deputy Pentagon spokesperson Sabrina Singh said on Tuesday that the Department of Defense committed three C-130 planes to aid in the search and rescue operations for the missing submersible.
The DoD is assisting in search operations. As of yesterday, there were 2 C-130s that conducted search and rescue flights and conducted a search flight over the area. By later today, an Air National Guard C-130 will also join the search and conduct a search flight over the area. So by the end of today, we would have committed 3 C-130s to conducting search and rescue flights. In addition to that, the Navy has been in touch with the Coast Guard and is working to provide personnel, such as subject matter experts, and assets as quickly as possible.
In Honduras, at least 41 women have been killed after an outbreak of violence between gangs at a prison on Tuesday. Authorities found dozens of bodies after the riots took place at the prison in Tamara. At least 7 female prisoners were being treated for gunshot and knife wounds at a hospital, and some of the victims had been shot to death. The monstrous murder of the victims, which President Xiomara Castro attributed to the street gangs, appalled her. She tweeted solidarity with the families and threatened to take drastic measures in response. The uprising looks to be the region's biggest disaster at a female prison center since 2017. That's it in this edition of the News on the Hour. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Get in-depth analysis of the important news of the day. Spotlight on day's newsmakers. Expert comments to dissect the news. Get the finer points of the matter. Watch Dateline 5 p.m. on weekdays on DD India.
It's going to be history in making, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India will be taking center stage in the 9th edition of the International Yoga Day. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to be attended by more than 180 foreign officials, dignitaries, representatives, top UN officials, ambassadors, envoys, delegates from member states, as well as prominent members of the international community, global community, as well as diaspora community. Historical event, a big first, where history will be in making, as for the first time something like this will be taking place from the UN headquarters.
G20 नए विचारों की परिकल्पना के लिए और सामूहिक एक्शन को गति देने के लिए एक ग्लोबल प्राइम मूवर की तरह काम करें। वैश्विक विकास महिलाओं की भागीदारी के बिना संभव नहीं है। भारत की G20 अध्यक्षता की थीम वन अर्थ, वन फैमिली, वन फ्यूचर में पूर्ण रूप से समाहित है।
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibilities. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday 8 p.m. only on DD India.
The changing world of news. Headlines that you wake up to. News that shapes your day. Stories that matter to you. The latest and most accurate updates. A fresh start to a new day. The Breakfast News, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. on DD India.